It's your girl, Mary Vin Rose, and you're tuning into Around the Way with the GirlMob. On today's episode, we're going to be talking about heartbreaks, but not the heartbreak you're probably thinking of, like the one between two romantic partners, but in fact, the heartbreak of losing a best friend. According to a 2018 Time magazine article, breaking up with a best friend can be devastating and worse than actually a breakup with a romantic partner. Today in the studio, I have two special guests, and they're going to be joining me and talking about their best friend breakup, how they healed from it, and what sisterhood still means to them. Hi, ladies.
Hi.
Thank you for joining me in this special episode of the GirlMob Around the Way with us.
Thank you for having us.
Oh my gosh, I can't even explain, because this is a topic that I've tried to Google, I tried to search, I YouTubed it, Twittered it, whatever it, and it never comes up. I always see the breakups between a romantic partner, right? So I wanted to first, I know you ladies, I've gotten to know you guys before the episode, but I wanted you to just give us your name, where you come from, and a little bit about what you know about the GirlMob.
My name is Daylise Curiel, and girl from Queens. I was not born here, born in Venezuela, but moved here when I was 3. And I'm just a freelance producer, and I kind of stumbled upon the GirlMob on Instagram, kind of on a mission to find spaces where I feel welcomed and belong and feel like I see myself reflected. And I feel like when I stumbled upon the GirlMob and what you guys are about, women empowerment and just people of color, and
And welcome, and thank you.
Thank you. I felt like I was at home, so
I appreciate
I'm an
that.
avid follower.
We appreciate you.
I'm Wellmiss. I'm actually born and raised in New York City. My parents, my family, they're Dominican, so Dominican, New Yorkina, all that good stuff. And I am actually one of the producers on this show here with the GirlMob. So yeah, it's really exciting to be a part of it. Thank you for having me.
Yes, both of you ladies have some amazing stories that I feel like have so many life lessons. So we can actually go right into it, because this conversation is going to be deep and
Spicy.
fun. Yes. So go ahead. We can actually start with you.
Okay, so when I actually heard about you guys doing this, I immediately connected with it. I lost my, well, not lost, but I guess I did lose a childhood best friend. She and I, we had that type of dynamic of friendship where when we weren't dating, we were always with each other. But once one of us got in a relationship, we would ghost each other. Like we would, and I think it happens in general. Just like when you start dating someone, you might, lose a friend for a little bit, but then you come back and you still look for your friends, hang out with your friend. It's not just about you and your boyfriend or partner, whoever you're with. But she and I, we had that kind of dynamic. And this was when we were younger. We were at a day party, and I kind of saw her boyfriend at the time do something a little shady. I saw him kind of flirting with a girl, thought I was seeing things. We were at a day party, we were drinking, maybe I don't know, maybe I was hallucinating. But then it happened again. And I confronted him in that very moment, because that's kind of who I was at the time, very confrontational.
Not that your zodiac sign really matters, but...
growth, guys,
Okay.
but... at the time, I confronted him, and he immediately left the place, called her, told her his side of the story or his version of what happened. And pretty much from there, the relationship was never the same, because he was very part of our circle. So if I wanted to see her, I knew that he would have to be there. And I was okay with it at the time. But because of that happening, she kind of wanted to separate he and I, and we were never able to just get back to what our friendship was.
So I have a quick question.
Yeah.
Was there ever a moment you was hesitant to actually tell her? Like, was there like a moment you paused and said, okay, I know my friend's personality type. She might not receive this information well.
Nope. I either way, whether she believed me or not, I was going to tell her what I saw.
Is that because that's how you identify friendship?
Yes. Yeah. I think now, I don't think I would have said anything to her. Honestly, I don't even know. I think I still might have said it, maybe, but my approach would have been different.
That's actually such an interesting concept, right? Like, how do you define friendship? Like, what would you do? I've personally never been in that type of situation. Luckily, I don't feel like I don't want to be in that situation to ever see like my best friend's man doing something that I don't think is, as I say, copacetic or kosher or good. But I want to know to like my viewers who are listening to this or maybe even tuning into this, like leave us a comment if you're watching us on YouTube. What would you do if you saw your best friend's man at a party? Or you can tweet us or you can follow us on Instagram and let us know what you think about that, because that's a really tough position. And as soon as you told her, like she was like, all right, like you could just see the friendship fizzling out from there. She
pretty much, it wasn't even about the situation. She forgave him, you know, whatever she believed, she believed. They decided to stay together. But then after that, because he did not want me around him, it was very hard to hang out with her. It was very hard for us to just meet up, have coffee, have dinner. It felt like I was scheduling a meeting with my boss. You know, we would have to see what day of the month would work, that she's not with him or whatever the case may be. So I got to the point that I was like, you know what, maybe I should just X myself out of the equation. Let's just let them have their relationship, and I will no longer be part of this friendship because it felt forced. But looking back at it now, and I did go back to her after.
So you did try to reconnect.
Yes, I did. Like because I pretty much broke up with her. I said, hey, I can't be your friend anymore because of X, Y, and Z.
Oh, so you had the conversation. You was bold enough to have the conversation. You didn't just do the ghost.
Yes, I feel like I should have let it fizzle out, or let the relationship take its course, because you know relationships go up and down in general, any type of relationship. So I feel like just cutting ties like that, and I was that type of person in the past where I would cut people off left and right. I feel like we just have to be more understanding of people and why they move the way that they move. And if you value someone, you will value them through the good and the bad. And I feel like I should have just let her go through that relationship, let us go through whatever our rough patch was, and then hopefully if we still found value in each other, then figure out a way to reconnect. And I don't feel like I gave her that chance and I hurt her by cutting her off. So, and when I went back, she wasn't receptive of of me coming back to her and asking for forgiveness, honestly, because I know that I did hurt her. But, you know, it was a learning lesson, because go forward after that, I viewed friendships differently, because I would view friendships as not in the same standard as like a relationship with my boyfriend. So I would go out of my way to do special things for my boyfriend, you know, cook him a nice meal, buy him good things, like just special things to make people feel special. But with friendships, I wouldn't do that. So I try to treat them the same way. Like if I'm doing something, you know, that's gonna make my boyfriend feel great, I will do the same thing for my friend. I would make them feel special as well, because we just have to value friendships and relationships with our partner, our boyfriend, or our girlfriend in the same way. And I feel like that was the lesson that came out of me losing that relationship. That I need to value the friendships that I have and nurture them and give them love and just build on them the same way that I would in a relationship with my boyfriend, whoever I plan to, you know, be with.
I'm the opposite. I hold on to people a little too long. Like I'm that person, I guess maybe it's a Leo thing. I don't know if it's a zodiac sign thing.
It might be.
But like I'm super loyal. Once you're in with me, like it takes you a long time to get there. I have a big wall. But once you get in that inner circle, to leave it is like, it's really hard for me to let go. So I wanted to know more about your best friend's story and how that happened. And do you feel the same way in terms of like the way you see friendships and romantic relationships?
Well, yeah, there's something very important that you mentioned about letting things kind of run their course, and then if you still see value in the relationship, then you can kind of go back. And I had a similar experience. So she was my best friend, and you know, we lived together for some time.
How long did you live together for?
Maybe 2 years or so. Okay. We lived one place and then moved to our own apartment together. You know, we're like the same age, young, like hustling girls who like are doing their thing, and we're like, you know what, we're gonna get ourselves a bougie little apartment in Washington Heights. And you know, I admired her for that. I always loved that about her, the fact that she was always after hers, and she was always ambitious and dedicated, and I admired all those things about her, but I felt like she didn't see those things in me. But that's maybe because we didn't speak the same language. It's kind of like love languages in relationships. My theory is that they exist in friendships as well. What you know about how to be a good friend might not be what does it for me, or what makes me feel seen and appreciated in the friendship. And the way that I express myself might be overbearing to you, or whatever the case may be. So I think that, you know, it got to a point where we wouldn't speak to each other, living in the same place, or, you know.
Was there a moment, like, what made you, like, break up?
Well, for one, I had to leave the apartment. I was like, I'm going traveling, and this is too expensive anyway, and it's not a home, so I'm out. And I think that's when we started to kind of drift. But then I started having really big life moments in which she wasn't supportive of me. And I think the one that really did it for me, it seems so silly, but it was like, you know, I put on this super cool tux and I went to this award ceremony and took 2 really big awards with me. And
That's not silly at all. That's big, girl.
Yeah.
Yeah, pick yourself up. That's great.
I had asked her for advice on the outfit beforehand, like before buying it. So when it happened, she watched my whole story and like didn't like the post and like didn't say anything to me, didn't congratulate me.
Isn't it crazy that now that's a thing?
It is a
for
thing.
us, but it's very much part of our lives, and it's like, listen, you can support me online, but then also support me in real life too, though.
Right, and it just felt a little like shady. It felt almost like she was watching me, but she was purposely not supporting me. It was kind of like, there's a difference between not supporting someone because you're in your own head and you're like not paying attention, but when you're actually there and you're seeing it and you're not saying a word to me.
You're not one of the people that are clapping for you.
Yeah, it felt really excuse me. It felt really
shady. Yes.
It hurt. Yes, it was. It felt really hurtful. I felt like I wanted her approval, but then at some point I learned that that's not like. Maybe she doesn't know how to be a good friend to me. Maybe she has her own trauma and her own issues that may cause her to treat me a certain way. Maybe I should have been better about expressing how I was feeling. Instead, I just kind of let it die out.
So what was your biggest life lesson from that, like from that breakup? Or even from the friendship in general?
I guess just like communicating really with your friend and being like, this hurts me. What are you gonna do to, you know, like to make me feel seen in this friendship, you know? And also just taking into account what your own trauma is bringing to the table and what your own issues are bringing, because at the end of the day, if I'm really honest with myself, this was me feeling like my mom never, you know, cheered for me or supported me. So I needed to hear that. And I became the kind of person that if you didn't want to give me your support, I was going to want it even more. It didn't
That
matter.
validation.
Right. It
Yes.
didn't matter if I had
Right,
100
yeah.
friends rooting for me, but if I didn't have that one friend like saying, good job,
That's where you
I
would
feel
focus.
hurt. I'm like,
Yeah.
why are you not here for me?
So the question that I have, because that's really deep, that's very layered. I don't think a lot of people show up in their relationships understanding their traumas and their triggers. But like, how did you even go about communicating that to her? Like, did you tell her like, hey, this is a trigger for me, and like, if you want to be in my life, this is what I need?
I took a very terrible approach. I suppressed it for so long, and then one day, this is while we were still living together, I had launched Soul Flight, which go check it out. And it was really important to me, and she even saw me like not sleeping because I wanted to get this launch going.
So what is it? We might as well talk about it. We're here.
Right. Well,
So what is Soul Flight? It's like a
yes.
blog?
So Soul Flight is, well, it was a blog, but now it's evolving into a movement, a brand. It's all about empowering people of color to travel more, but to travel soulfully and to kind of benefit themselves spiritually through
I'm
their
so
travel.
here for this. I
Yes.
love traveling.
Same.
Because I am a spiritual travel, and that doesn't just mean like sitting in an ashram meditating. Sometimes it means like partying all night under the full moon in Thailand, or you know, doing something you're afraid of. But back to the story. So I launched it, and like 4 days had passed. Yes, I was counting because I was obsessed with getting her validation, and I didn't hear anything from her. And we live in the same apartment. No, oh, congratulations, I checked out your blog, like it's dope, that's what's up. Nothing. And instead of like, you know, going up to her and having a calm conversation, I blew her phone up with like, I wrote her a book.
Wow.
And it was so intense, and she said hurtful things and I said hurtful things, and then we just both kind of moved on from it. And I feel like that's not how I should have gone about it.
Yeah, I think you both were kind of triggering each other, right? I think she might have some past traumas that she was kind of leaning onto you to. But do you think we have a sense of responsibility to heal ourselves and not necessarily seek that validation from somebody else?
Yeah.
Of course.
So,
But I feel like in that situation, her friend, this is as an outsider looking in, I feel like if you guys were both hustlers, and if I feel like the competitive thing comes in for females, where we might not even recognize it, but we get kind of placed against each other, who can look better, who's who's the baddest bitch, and that in general, I hate that quote, because it's like, why are we competing against each other? Why can't we just be like, yes, go ahead with your your project that you're literally giving your whole life to? Why not support you in that? And I feel like if she might have not been seeing the same outcome out of her efforts in life the way that you were seeing them, and I don't think it was bothering her. I think that she wasn't there, and that's why she couldn't give her the props that she needed. That's from what I'm seeing.
I was gonna say, I had 2 friendship breakups in my life, 2 that hit me pretty heavy, and the first one was that competitive nature. I'm not a competitive person just in general, and I'm definitely not competing with other women. Anytime I'm in a room with another woman, I'm always bigging her up. I guess my family's full of women, so I feel the most supported and loved when I'm working with women. So everything I did was just competitive. It was I got an A in the class, and it was just, oh, that comes easy to you. Or if I got with a certain guy, oh, it's because you're just pretty and you have long hair. And everything I did just seemed so easy, right? It was just nothing I did came with hard work, even though she saw me in the library for hours. She also knew I had a learning disability. And somehow none of that mattered. And it's because she kept comparing herself to me. And I honestly thought she was the most beautiful woman that I've seen. I thought she was extremely intelligent, but none of that mattered because of such level of insecurity. And like I said earlier, I'm the type of person that wants to hold on. But when it got to a place where every single time we spoke, all she did was say negative things. All she did was try to make me feel like I don't work hard. That's when I had the firm conversation, because I decided to go away to school, and I said, hey, I really care about you. But in order for this friendship to really work, I need to feel like we're on the same team and that we're not competing against each other. My number one rule in life, I say I don't have expectations for people, but I do have standards. And the difference is it's the metaphor I use, let's say you have a club, right? And you have a bouncer for the club. The club is my body, my energy, my soul, all that. And it's my responsibility as the bouncer to just simply state the rules. Hey, you can't wear jeans at this club. You can go down the club if you like a couple of clubs down the block. But for me, no, you can't come in this space. And I don't get offended. I don't get offended if someone can't meet the standard. You know what I mean? But at the same time, because of that, it allows me not to feel hurt if someone doesn't meet the standard. I get it. You can't meet the standard of this friendship, and I get it. That's fine. I respect you. I love you, but you just can't make your way this way. Which led me to my second big breakup. I wish I would have really reflected on that first one a little bit more, because then maybe I wouldn't have had things happen for a reason,
they
right? You learn the lesson at the time that you need to learn the lesson. So the second friendship breakup, this person, oh my gosh, I don't know about your friends, but I know this person for years. And her family and my family, we were super tight. And even now, it hurts me because I see her family. I'm like, oh my God, I love you. I miss grandma's rice. I want to come over and experience those things. But the way we broke up was throughout our friendship, she was saying and doing little things. I don't know if you've experienced this in a friendship where they're throwing you subtle shade, but you don't think nothing of it. You go, oh, that's my friend. Who cares?
She's just playing.
Right, she's just
being
teasing.
Funny.
There's always the super hating friend that always just tries to tear you down with subtle little jabs.
But is that really a friend, though?
Yeah.
It's not.
It's not.
Backhanded compliments.
Yeah.
And you're wait, oh, that was a joke. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, it's fine.
I get it, right? So she was throwing these little things. I didn't really say anything until one day she said and did something that I felt was super, crossed one of my boundaries. Again, those standards. And I said, you know what? I'm just going to take her to dinner. I'm going to see what's going on. I'm trying to take the mature approach. Trying to understand that people come from all different walks of life. We have different trauma. I mean, I was trying to elevate at this point in time in my life. I was trying to be mature. So I sat her down, we went to dinner, and I asked her what was going on. And she started crying. And she's like, I'm a B. And I'm selfish. I'm an a-hole. And I have to make certain things about me. And, why are you making me feel bad about being myself?
Wait, what?
Yes. And you've ever seen that meme, on Instagram, where they're I'm past the point of people just saying this is who I am and accept me for who I am. But that's what she was really telling me. And you know what I did? I did something crazy. I started crying too. I was like, don't say that about yourself.
I would have been angry a little. Maybe not. I probably would have been angry. I would have been okay, so I just have to accept this hurt from you. Just because if it's either I accept you as sweet, which I guess is true though.
But I guess
You
that's
gotta
where
accept
we
people for
come.
who they are.
We do, but that doesn't mean you have to stick around. It's the same thing as in relationships. You know, romantic relationships. You could be with somebody that you love, that you support, that you want to be with. You know they love you too. But if they don't meet those standards, or if they're crossing certain boundaries that, you know, like, you got to protect yourself. Okay, I accept you for who you are, but I'm going to do it from afar. We don't need to be friends at that point if this isn't satisfying to me, you know.
That is so true. I think that's what that relationship taught me. That relationship taught me, because we wound up having another situation where we didn't speak for years, and then we saw each other at a mutual event, and it was great. I mean, we were dancing, we were kikiing. It was just great. I'm like, oh my gosh, I forgot how much I missed this girl. This is my sister. We're everything. And towards the end of the night, I guess she had too much liquor, and she came charging at me.
Oh my
like,
God.
Literally.
And like a switch went off.
Like something happened.
Okay.
She started calling me names, and it just was not a good situation. And I was just like, I had done so much healing work in that point in time, because I had gotten out of a toxic relationship. A lot had happened in my life. And I'm like, as she's like hurling insults at me, I'm like, girl, I have nothing but love for you. Why are you doing this to me? And everyone that was there, all our mutual friends, were like, how could you even stand there and say that to her? Even she's saying basically she hates you.
I commend you for that.
I don't even know how
That takes a lot.
I don't know how I did it. I think it really came from a place to, like what you were saying, that you get to a place where you're like, yo, I can love you. I can deeply care about you, but that doesn't mean you're good for my life. That does not mean you're good for my life. And I still feel that way about her. Like, if someone says, brings up my name, she like almost like pretends to throw up. It's almost like she gags, like, like, don't bring up Mary's name. But me, I'm more like, oh, she's doing okay, that's good.
You still wish her well.
Yeah, I'm just like, please, like, she's one of the most talented, beautiful people I've ever met.
Yeah.
So I'm like, that doesn't change. And I think that's how you heal. When you accept that sometimes people have to be where they're at, and you just have to keep doing what you're doing. Which brings me to like one of my favorite questions, and we've talked about this offline, the word outgrow. Do both of you ladies think that you have outgrown those people? Is that what it is? Or maybe you reconnected? So what do you feel about that?
I feel like it was necessary for me to lose that friendship. Even if we would have never had that official breakup, I think our lives were going in completely different directions. And I met a lot of, because of the fact that I didn't have that friendship kind of like as a barrier, I in the past, I guess, with friends, I would let them lead, like, let's say we're hanging out with friends, they would lead the conversation. I wouldn't be the one to be in the limelight, or, I was always in the back, right? So without that friendship there, I was able to just be on my own, meet people, be more open to new people, new experiences. Yeah. So I don't feel like she was meant to be in my life. That she was for that season. And I appreciate it and I value all those years because they made me who I am. But there are a lot of things that I learned from that relationship that I do not want to carry on. And I don't feel like I would have let them go had she still been in my life. So I feel like in general, we all outgrow, we have to. We have to change. And either some people come along with you, or they, like you said, she was meant to stay where she was and you were meant to go the way that you went.
Yeah, I agree. I like how you said for a season. I do believe people come into your life for a season and for a reason, and when that's done, they move on. It's just kind of the way the universe works, and I'm at peace with that. And in fact, I did think my friend and I had outgrown each other and we were ready to go our separate ways. But we recently sort of rekindled the relationship. And the reason why is, well, first I had done a lot to like get rid of the anger and the sadness I was feeling because I felt very hurt for a very long time. I couldn't even bring her up without just ranting forever because I was in so much pain. But I let it go, and then about a year later, I was traveling with my girlfriend and I told her the story, and she was like, you haven't spoken to her? How would you feel if something happened to her right now and you never got to say what you had to say? And I started crying. Like, I just broke down, and I was like, I feel that. Oh my God, like I need to reach out. So I reached out, and she was so receptive to me. And she's like, hey girl, I miss you too. Like, when can we link up? And it took us about maybe 8 months or so. Actually, yeah, we just linked up recently, and that was in April of last year that I first hit her up. It took us a while because, you know, we both have busy lives, and because it's hard to kind of like try to force it. But we, but we finally made it happen, and it was so nice when we finally linked up. It was like, this is my sister. It all came together. It felt the same way it used to feel when we would hang out. We laughed, we were there for each other, we even cried a little bit. And what's crazy is we didn't even talk about the situation.
I was gonna ask you if you guys had the conversation.
We didn't.
About what actually happened or how you felt.
Yeah, I think that like I wanted to have that conversation, but then I realized the vibe was going so well, I didn't want to kill it. And I also had already made peace with everything.
But you know you're going to have to have it at some point.
Yeah, because it's like, what if
But will I?
Yes.
I think
You are.
Like, you're
darling.
waiting it out, though. Are you like, are you moving more cautiously now in the friendship, or are you
I
just
am.
like, you know what? Maybe she had to go through whatever she had to go through at that time to now for us to be here.
I don't know. I think that I'm just gonna kind of like go with the flow and let it go where it goes, but I won't make the same mistake as last time of not communicating what I'm
Okay.
feeling. As soon as I feel some type of way, I'll be like, yo, we need to talk. And I think I did say something like that. I was like, let's communicate. Let's talk to each other if something is up, you know, let's see each other more. But I just felt like I had already gone through it. I had already talked about it with a therapist, with friends.
You were
Like
over it.
I did rituals to get rid of that pain, and I did. So at that point, nothing mattered more than just, yo, I'm sitting here with my sister, and like, yo, I love her so much. She's a beautiful person, and I know that she loves me. I saw it in her eyes when
I
I
have
saw
two
her.
questions to that. So the
Yeah.
first one is, what ritual did you do?
Okay, so usually on the full moon, so as you might know, for the full moon, you're kind of like literally full and you need to let go, you need to release things. So I normally write a list of things that I want to release. I release my anger, I release my need for validation, I release X, Y, and Z. And then you burn it and like visualize and feel yourself releasing those things that no longer serve you. So I had gone to a yoga retreat and they told us to write a letter to someone who hurt you. And I wrote it to her.
Done that.
Right? It's so powerful.
And you think it's not, because you're like, you know, you're not writing to the person, but even if they don't hear it,
You feel it.
getting it out.
But then I had to burn it under the full moon outside in the park at like midnight. And I know that sounds creepy and like, but I just had to do something. And it worked. Like I really, after that, I was like, you know what? It's all good. I am tired. I'm good. So
What I love about your story, and that's why I asked the question about outgrown, right, is that I don't know if we can really outgrow people. I think we as individuals, we're just on a path, and people kind of meet us on our path, and what happens is we pivot in life, right? Something causes us to move left, or something causes us to move right. And I think your story is really a testament to that. Like we bumped into each other on a path, very similar path, and then something happened where you took a detour, and she took a detour, but your paths somehow come back together. Like when people ask me about my other two friends, like the ones I had breakups with, can you ever reconnect with them? I'm like, I don't know. I'm never a hard no or a hard yes. I just know that I have these certain standards because I have certain purpose in my life. There's certain things that I gotta get done while I'm here on earth. Like this time is borrowed, right? With all that's happening in the news and all that's happening in the world, I feel like this time is borrowed. So to have a hard no or even a hard yes, to me is like, it's so black and white. I feel like people, if we give people that space to just go down their paths, who's meant to be on your path and to get you where you gotta go,
They will be
go.
there.
And like one of the last things I wanna say about like relationships is that if someone walks out of your life, let them go. Let them all the way go. Like you have to just let them be.
You have to. I was told this, but for me doing it, the action of leaving, I was told I let you do what you wanted to do. So you got to let people do what they want to do. You can never force anything.
Right.
So I mean, it's funny that you say the whole, you know, you would let these people come back in, because I feel like that's what hurts me about not having her friendship, because the person that she knew then is not who I am now.
Right.
So I feel like she's not. I mean, and it's her choice at the end of the day, but that's the only thing that I'm still carrying with me. The hurt that she's not letting us see, like, what kind of friendship can we have now? Because I'm sure that she's not the person that she was at that time either.
Right.
maybe she you know, her friendships are different as well. You know, we were in our, you know, early 20s. It's completely, mindsets are completely different. So I wish that she would be more open to a friendship now, just because that's not, you know, wherever we were then, it's not where we are now. And I feel like it would be great.
The only thing I would say that it just means that her mindset can't get you where you gotta go.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, that means that that person is not tied to your destiny.
That's true.
So if I can help you release that and knowing that, like wishing that someone could see your value, your amazingness, and all that you have grown and done, that person can't see it. It's better that they're not there, because they're gonna weigh you down and stop you from where you gotta go.
That's true.
So if I can help you release that, I hope that helps a little bit. I think I have like a little bit of recap based on both of your stories on really how to help people like really heal if they're going through a friendship breakup. So the first part is like to have the conversation, right? You both had to have the conversation. So if someone is not able to have the conversation, I think maybe it's best that they have a conversation with themselves, right? Like why they need to end this friendship. The second part is, I guess, forgive that person, right? Both of you have mentioned like traumas and things that another person has that they bring into any relationship. So just forgiving that person. I think the third step is to really own your side of the street. Would you say both of you ladies have owned your side of the street? Like you really cleaned it up, like you know where you went wrong in the relationship?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I didn't, like my views on friendships completely changed after that, after losing that friendship.
And that's good.
Putting in value in friendship more, the same way that I would value a partnership with, you know, whoever I'm with, in a, you know, romantic relationship.
I would say step number 4 is to definitely forgive yourself. When you know better, you do better.
I think that's the biggest one.
Forgiving yourself. You think it was easier for you to forgive the other person than it was yourself?
That's a tough one.
I don't know. Yeah, I beat myself up all the time. I think we all do. For me, I feel like I could forgive someone because I will. You see their life from their outside in, so you come to their understanding of why they are the way that they are faster, I feel, than you would for yourself. Because sometimes, and I'm pretty sure that I still do things that I would like to change, but you don't catch yourself in the things where where you messed up. You recognize it, yes, but it takes a lot more to just come to that change and acceptance of who you are.
I think in my case, it was more about forgiving her than myself, because I feel like I was the one that was wronged in this case. At the end of the day, I had a friend who wasn't there for me while I was there for her, period. But I do accept the fact that, one, you can't have certain expectations for people and then get mad at them when you never even told them what those expectations are.
So you are holding yourself accountable.
Of course, yeah, absolutely. I think I was a good friend to her, but I think that I was also projecting my own need for validation, not telling her, and then getting mad at her for not being the friend that I wanted her to be. So I think that's kind of the biggest thing there for me.
I think for me, like my friendship, especially that second one, I think it took me a long time to forgive myself because I didn't set healthy boundaries. And it goes to that old saying is, people will treat you how you allow them to treat you. And she told me who she was. That Maya Angelou quote that sometimes I love, but sometimes I don't like. When someone shows you who they are, you need to believe them the first time. And I think that's what I kept beating myself up around. And again, it took me a while to accept that too. I think I had some expectations from her that weren't fair. Like she was just always being who she's always been. And I wanted her to grow as I was growing in this mental shift, and that wasn't fair. So I think that's why it took me a minute to forgive myself. And there were times where I've said or might have done things that probably hurt her too. So I think that's what took me so long to forgive myself. But you have to. Know better, you do better. Number 5, I think it's really important to smile because it happened. It's basically like, don't suppress that. Like for us, I haven't reconnected. So that means for me, like when her name does come up or their names come up or something happens, I don't beat myself up about it. I smile. I'm like, oh, I remember that. That was dope. Maybe again one day when we're 40, 50, 60, or maybe never again. It was just one of those once in a lifetime type of things. I think that's really important. And the last one, I think you mentioned this, you inspired that, was you have to make space. You know, as long as you're holding on to other people and how it used to be, you never make space for how it could be, the newness, and you're not giving newness to other people and other opportunities, right? So
yeah, but I feel like we also can't, well, not that we can't, but we have to try not to be upset at them for not meeting us halfway in the event of trying to rekindle.
Yeah.
You know, if she's not meeting you there, then it's like, well, what
Yeah,
can
I'd
you
have
do?
to understand
I
it.
tried. Let it, you know, it's time to let it go. There's a lot of people who think about like the best friends we had in elementary school that we thought we'd be friends with forever, and then like we went to middle school and boom, like, who are you? I don't know who you are. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it hurts, but I think that if they're not willing to meet you halfway when it comes to trying to rekindle the friendship, then you just got to keep it pushing.
Yeah, I think that's important. I think that's the message you ladies been spitting over and over. It's like you just have to be honest with yourself and understand that everyone's on their own journey, and if they can come along, they can, and if they can't, that's okay too. That doesn't mean there's love lost.
Exactly.
I think people get that confused, and we don't want to suppress our feelings. So to wrap up this episode, I have some quotes here. I want you ladies to pull one, each pull just one, and then
I'm gonna go for this one.
Yes.
Out and about, right? Once they get pulled.
that one. Take that one.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I got a good one. I love her. Do I just read it?
Yeah,
for you
read it
guys?
out loud and tell me what it means to you.
So, sisterhood and brotherhood are conditions people have to work at. It's a serious matter. You compromise, you give, you take, you stand firm, and you're relentless. And it is an investment. Maya Angelou. Love. Maya Angelou. Yeah, we're to me, this is just we're all a work in progress. We're never complete. We're never perfect. Perfection, it should never be something we strive for. I think it should be for improvement, for progress, right? And you either, as she says, you compromise, you give, you take, you stand firm. So I feel like the boundaries, that stand firm, I think it points out like we all have our boundaries. We all are who we are, and we all accept what we can accept and, you know, what we can't. And we have to be okay with, like you said, either I'm gonna love you close because you accept my boundaries, and if you cannot, then I have to let you go, but I will always wish you well. And I think that's in general for anyone that comes into our life. We should live with this way, because it is an investment. Relationships are an investment. So
They're the best investment. When you invest in the right people, anything is possible.
for sure.
That's so beautiful. Oh my gosh. Okay, so I have abandon the cultural myth that all female friendships must be bitchy, toxic, or competitive. This myth is like heels and purses, pretty but designed to slow women down, by Roxane Gay. I love that. Oh my God, that's amazing.
I'm so glad you pulled that one because that one's perfect.
Yeah, it's funny too because I was actually like talking about how I hate like purses or baggage. Like reminds me of like Bag Lady by Erykah Badu. You know what I'm saying? I would sing it, but I don't want to make y'all like fall in love with me. So
They're not ready. They're not ready for it.
they're not.
ready,
They're just not. You know. But yeah, I think that is true. That's something really important. I think that as women, we are pitted against each other, especially women of color, especially Black women, more than anyone on the planet. Constantly just like telling us to compete, telling us like, no, you need to be better than her, and you need to get what she doesn't have, and it's like, and in the workplace, because there's only like the one spot for the woman, you know what I'm saying? So I feel like, yeah, we need to continue. I'm not gonna say start because we have started, otherwise things like the GirlMob wouldn't exist, but we have to continue to support other women around us. And I wish my bestie had done that for me, but I forgive you, sis. It's all love.
It's always love.
That's how you know you had like a moment in the studio when you start like speaking in unison, like it's all
We're on
love.
the same wavelength. over
Yep,
here.
that's like the hashtag for this episode.
It's all love.
Yep.
So I just want to say thank you, ladies, for being so vulnerable, showing up, like sharing your stories with me, sharing the stories with the GirlMob and our viewers and our audience. I really appreciate that. I want to say to our viewers and our audience back at home, thank you for tuning in to this special episode of Around the Way with the GirlMob. It's your girl Mary, and I hope to see you on another episode. And don't forget, if you're following us on YouTube, make sure you subscribe, press that little bell icon so you can be the first to know when we drop new content, and also follow us on Instagram and Twitter at the GirlMob. Signing off. Bye, y'all.